Welcome back to Feels Like Weezer, where we're going over discussing the all the songs, all the catalog of Weezer, track by track, song by song, from Blue Album to Van Weezer, which we just had Hero come out this past week or so.
Right, yeah. Let's hope the album actually comes out eventually.
Yeah. It's delayed to whatever time in 2021. I got an email.
Oh, no, that got changed. It's
good.
in June now, so...
Yeah, June of this year. It was a little typo then.
I panicked a tiny bit.
It may have said June 2021. I was like... Oh, boy. But this is the Maladroit... Oh, I should say who I am, I guess, right?
Oh, yeah, because at this point, no one knows who we are.
No.
Oh, wait, this will probably go on the Pantheon feed. Hello, Pantheon feed.
I'm Eric Nash, also of Almost Famous Minute.
And I'm Zach Fracking Smith. You can follow me on Twitter at The Informal Log. That's all I have. That's my claim to fame. I retweet things.
And this is the Maladroit Recap episode.
Yes. Oh, boy. I haven't been excited about a recap episode since the Blue album. So I'm happy about this. So I was going through and I was our ratings for me, and going through everything, I'm like, you know what? There's only one song on here that I would consider bad, And yeah. I was very happy about that. I was very, very happy about that. But, so what'd you think of this album, Eric, overall?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a really good album. Upon coming back to it after a little bit of time, few years since I really last gave it too much attention, and really probably before that, I mean, not a whole lot over the course of many years. Maybe let's do it just once or twice earlier on when it first, not right when it first exactly came out, but pretty soon. But, coming back to it and giving it a lot of listens because, song by song, always, definitely.
Right.
But some here and there, throughout, and then more recently, just for this episode, giving it the overall feel. And it's just a pretty good rockin' album, and, I still would definitely Blue is still,
for sure,
at this point, my all-time. I mean, I know, definitely later on, I definitely am on your side with everything will be all right in the end.
Everything.
But I almost feel like Pinkerton still could edge this out for me just a little bit. Mm-hmm. But this at this point, between the four, this is in that nearly second spot, but third spot, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I would agree. But for me, it's I'm kind of split into two camps with this. Because, with all this quarantine stuff, people have been doing a bunch of, 10 albums that have shaped your taste in music, blah, blah, blah. And so it kind of got me thinking differently about Pinkerton. I still don't like it, but I mean, if I were to list, the most important Weezer albums, I would say. It would be Everything, Blue, and then Pinkerton. So let me say that. Now, if we're talking about albums I like, out of these four especially, I mean, we're going to have Blue is obviously the best.
Pinkerton.
Out of the four. And what was that?
This one overtakes Pinkerton
for sure.
Upon thinking that, just what you like. Yeah.
Right, yep. And I always feel like I have to justify my feelings about Pinkerton every time that somebody decides to mention that word, Eric. But, it's I understand how important and good it is. It's just, if you hand me, we're on a road trip, right? And you were like, all right, Zach, you can only take 2 Weezer albums. And you have to pick from these 4, it's going to be Blue and Maladroit. Hands down, every single time. I mean, 10 years ago, oh my God. I can say 10 years ago and I'm still an adult. That's oh, hold on. I'm having a crisis right now. 10 years ago, I would have picked Blue and Pinkerton. Easy. Because I hated this album. Did I mention that? when I first started. When we first started this one.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I really did not like this album when I first listened to it. And the first couple of times, I just kind of skipped through it. And
what was it that you didn't like?
It's
point to something.
I think it's because it was so different from Blue and Green, which were the two that I would normally have on my rotation if I'm just walking to class or something. But and then Pinkerton was obviously the one I play in my car all the time to, really feel. But for this, it was just, it was kind of a nothing burger, as I said during Love Explosion. It was just an album that, it didn't resonate with me. It didn't mean anything, but listening to it now, I mean, there's just so much to love about this, and there's not a whole lot to dislike other than the language. Like some of the language is very problematic, but that's looking at it with a 2020 lens. But like Dope Nose is a fantastic song, but but I think it grew on me over the years, and when I first moved up to this area, it was just because they're the only CDs I have is Weezer CDs, because that's just who I am. Just go through and listen to these albums, and I'm like, I'm gonna give Maladroit a try, and I listen to it. I'm like, this is really good. What the heck am I talking about? So. Yeah, it's a great album, and I think that people who haven't listened to it or who don't think it's that good and haven't listened to it for a while really should give it another chance. It's definitely not Blue. It's definitely not Green. I mean, it's closer to Pinkerton than anything else, but I'd say that this is well worth the time to sit and listen to and enjoy. It's a good album, Eric.
Yeah, well, and then as far as for me personally, it's the for doing the show and our ratings. My average for this album is 8.02, whatever. For Pinkerton, it was 7.7. So I'm not quite following very well.
Statistically, you enjoy this album more.
Yeah, but I think if I were to go back to Pinkerton, that's probably what I should really do is actually listen to all four prior to doing this episode.
All right.
Immediately.
We'll record again.
Yeah. Yep. But are we ready to do we want to go through some things, more numbers?
Yeah, sure. And
I mean, for you, you're also 8.0 or 6.
I apparently like this more than I like the Blue album by 0.06 points, but I essentially like them the same. But yeah, just kind of looking at our ratings previously. For me, Blue was at 8. You were at 8.3 for that overall. And, then it would be Maladroit would come in into second place, then Pinkerton, and then the Green album, which, you liked apparently way better than I did. But, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's go. You want to go from 13 to 1?
Yeah, we want to do our ranking now.
Oh, do we want to do our ranking?
So,
okay. Are we?
Well, that's what you're saying. I mean, we're our own personal ranking. Mostly. I mean, for me, mostly based on the ratings. Just getting those in the order. But whenever there's a tie or whatever,
right? Yep.
I did have to make the decision.
There were a few where I'm like, ugh, where am I going to put this in comparison? But all right, let's get to it.
So what is your number 13?
My number 13, unsurprisingly, is Love Explosion. I literally cannot remember a single thing from this song. And we just did it 2 weeks ago. So
yeah, that's right. That's all.
I mean, to be fair, I did edit it just 2 weeks ago, so
Okay, yeah.
I literally remember nothing about this song. I would say that this is the only bad song on the album, which both you and Alice completely disagreed with me on that.
Yeah, and with her little realization there of locomotion. I've just had this song in my head a lot this past
See, and I
month roughly.
see,
Very roughly.
I still don't, I don't hear the comparison. I don't. Me personally, maybe it's just because I'm just sitting here grumping the whole time, like, this is a stupid song. What about you? What's your 13?
My number 13 is
Slave. Okay. Why did you like that one the least?
That for some reason I'm having a hard time recalling what that song was like.
Well, I just recently listened to the Spotify sessions of that song, so that's been going through my head for quite a while. But I get that. It's that I get that and slob confused all the time, and that's I shouldn't, but it is what it is. So, all right, my number 12, which, like, we should point out that, like, we're not giving low scores to everything after this, like, my lowest was a 4, like, that was, like I said, the only bad song, but, I mean, yours was a 6.5, so it's not like it...
Yeah, my lowest was, like...
It's not like it's, anything in here is, like, bad,
No, yeah.
Like, for me, I gave Space Rock a 6.5. That's my number 12. Again, still not remembering a whole lot of that song. Like, I'm really trying to. I'm going to have to look at the lyrics to try to remember which song.
Well, and that one I remember best as with my finding out that they considered it to be very... somewhat at least similar in style to Spaceman 3 and by extension the band Spiritualized. Those two bands. But and for me, that's my number 12 is also Space Rock.
What?
And our 11s are the same too.
What?
Yes.
Oh my god.
We're lined up kind of almost perfectly for the bottom 3.
Wow.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. As Meatloaf once said. Join us next week on the Meatloaf Pod. Our next Meatloafabetical. Nah, that's not good. I don't like that one. I was thinking about what gimmick we could use with Meatloaf. I don't know.
Cooking them up and serving them to you one slab at a time. Slab. It's one piece at a time.
Well, yeah, because we can't say, or we could say loafing around meatloaf.
Yeah.
This is the dumbest conversation. Well, it's a quarantine pod, so we're loafing, right?
Yeah.
That's, we're essential, Eric. So, we've been working hard. Mm-hmm. So number 11, Death and Destruction, which is the slow song on the album, I would say. Which I enjoy. It's a good one. It's a good tune. And what was your number 10?
My number 10 was December.
December. Nice. Solid choice. Mine was Take Control. Which all I can remember that song is the Take Control there at the end. So, I'm really having a hard time with this album, apparently. I just spent the entire, first half of the episode talking about, oh, it's so good, everybody should like it. And I'm like, I don't remember half of these songs. Are you sure? And my number 9 was Possibilities, which, again, is a great tune. It's not bad. It is very enjoyable. And that was with Heather Mack of the Make It Stop podcast. Also part of the Pantheon Podcast Network. What's your number 9, Eric?
Yep. My number 9 was Locomotion.
Locomotion, yes.
Love Explosion.
Love Explosion, Locomotion.
Love in the Ocean.
Love in the Ocean. Cake. Isn't that Cake by the Ocean?
Cake by the Sea.
Cake by the Sea. Pie by the Lake. Okay, this is really stupid now. 'Cause it feels like Weezer. 'Cause it feels like Weezer. Number 8 is your least favorite. I went with Slave. What about you?
Well, my number 8 was one you just said for what 10. That is Take Control.
Yes, solid tune. Number 7, my absolute favorite song to say, "Burned It Jamb" with Connor Sullivan. I think that's more. I just like that song most because I just had a blast talking with Connor during that time. So. And
well, this is where we match up again. Though.
What?
My number 7 is Burnt Jam as well.
Wow, look at us. We're 2 peas in a pod, you and me. Two guys in a podcast. 2 peas in it. Okay. Number 6 was Fall Together, which we both had the same rating for. I'm not sure if it's the same ranking, but this song I keep getting confused with Put Me Back Together on Ratitude. I think that's on Ratitude. When I fall down, you put me back together. Yep. One of the only good songs on Ratitude. Anyway, yeah. So would you put for number 6?
Number 6, I have Possibilities. So I'm catching up with you. Or you're catching up with me.
I'm catching up with you.
Yeah.
But that's the funny thing. It's like our ranking for Possibilities, like rating for Possibilities, was the same.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's the same. You put 8.1 because you're doing some Price is Right bullshit on me. But it's pretty much the same. So it's like this is a good album. Like we haven't gotten to the really bad stuff yet. Except for the Green Album, which isn't really bad. It's just mediocre at best. Number 5, speaking of mediocre, but that's not a synonym for the word slop. Which, that song I find stuck in my head frequently. Just that riff, especially that like, the cymbal at the beginning, that ding 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 ding. Oh my god, it's so good. That is such a good tune. And what about you?
And Slob again. We're in sync, seemingly.
That's
for a little bit here.
Incredible. I'm in awe at this point. Number 4 for me, which would have been higher if it wasn't problematic. Dope Nose.
Yeah.
Which, God, I love that song. I love that song so much, and like, it is. I'm not a big fan of the F word, obviously, but. And what about you?
Number 4. Is that it? Right. Yeah. Number 4 is Fall Together for me.
Fall Together. Nice. For me, December ended up in the number 3 spot.
Mm-hmm.
So, like that month better than you do. So, what about you?
My number 3 is Dope Nose.
Number 2 was American Gigolo, which was the basis for the amazing running joke this season of Rivers Cuomo, where he says, "Ha ha ha ha." It's terrible. It's such a bad joke, Eric. Why did you let me continue to do that? What else you got? What's number 2 for you?
Yeah, my number 2 is Keep Fishing.
Ooh.
So, I know that's your number 1.
That is my number 1. And
my number 1 is American Gigolo. So we're just swapping that.
Just swapping that one.
Right.
So, Keep Fishing is such a fun tune. Like, it is such... And I think, honestly, because I loved Keep Fishing before I even knew that there was a Muppet video about it, but that definitely enhanced it for me, and then being able to talk with Tony and all that, that was... that was one of my all-time favorite episodes that we've done, Eric. I just have to say that. Got to talk. Look, I got to talk about the Muppets. I got to talk about a really good Weezer song. I got to talk to a person who actually has gone on and played music with Weezer. And there's Muppets involved. I know I already said that, but it needs to be said twice. So, and you, American Gigolo. Why would you choose that one as your favorite? Why did you enjoy that better than most of the other songs?
It's I don't know. I mean, it is the first track of the album, and I mean, it's just I think it was just a sign of this album being as good as it was going to be compared to Green, especially.
Absolutely. It's a good kicker to the album for sure. And then it hits you. You got American Gigolo, then Dope Nose, then Keep Fishing. It's just like boom, 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 boom. I don't know why I added the fourth boom there. But, it's so, like, excuse me, this album is just so good. And like, now that I'm energized talking about it now, the first half of the album especially is just incredible. And, the second half you can kind of see kind of the more experimental stuff that we're going to see more with Red. And then even into like Hurley and Death to False Metal. See, I skipped over Ratitude there. Just kind of that experimental stuff that, I feel like could have been its own album. But they just kind of slapped on the second half of it. But yeah, it's a great album. I'd really like to kind of do a deep dive into the demos at some point when our lives are not as chaotic and terrible. It's this is a good album. It's pretty good, Eric. Mm-hmm. Do you have any closing thoughts?
No. Well, I think there's one last thing. I think we've kind of done something like this before, at least I've kind of gotten ready for it, and I think I've mentioned it. I mean, there is, I think, a couple different ways we can kind of say for the show, for between you and I, and when we had guests. We didn't have guests every episode, that's for darn sure. But if we take, we have our rating average for each of these 13 songs. Mm-hmm. And I think what's interesting, let me spout off, 13 on down to 1. 13, if we order them by this rating average: Love Explosion, and then Space Rock, Death and Destruction, Take Control, Possibilities at 9, Slave, Slob, Burnt Jam at 6. So that's actually better than our combined 7. Mm-hmm. We had Connor coming in there strong, right?
Yep.
And then Dope Nose 5, Fall Together for December. And then the thing is that we have the same average exactly for...
Oh, yeah, we do.
the top one, tied, American Gigolo and Keep Fishing.
So there's literally no tiebreaker here.
Well, the only way I think we could say something about that is... Well, so if I delete both right now, but I'll add them back in, the 8s that Peter gave for American Gigolo and Tony gave for Keep Fishing, and it's still the same.
See, there's
your 9.5 and my 9.25 for American Gigolo, and your 10 and my 8.75. Just keeps them the same.
That, this is a lot of insider baseball kind of behind the scenes stuff, but, I think that's just kind of a testament to just how good those two songs are, and you're starting off Maladroit with that, and then, of course, you had the single Dope Nose, which I think would be better if it wasn't so, you gotta come on, Rivers. You gotta stop using a slur for gay people. But and then you have Keep Fishing right after that, and Keep Fishing is just so good, you know, and both of those songs, it's that's really cool. I didn't notice that. That's a fun little thing. Maybe we can make a little animated GIF of it. Do you know how to do that, Eric?
I'm not seeing anything in my head.
Fine. Never mind then. But yeah, that's cool. So usually this would also be, well, next episode we would be talking about the outtakes, but we're not doing a demo special this time.
Yeah, this album, Maladroit, did not have a deluxe edition. You know, there are some things we have in mind. We haven't totally worked out what we're gonna do. I think our next episode, we're pretty sure we know what we're doing, but
right. You know, and we'll kind of see. I've got some really big life changes coming up here pretty soon. So after Make Believe, we might be taking a little bit of a longer break than normal. Because I'm having another kid. So anyway, but we'll kind of, hopefully coming back from that, we'll figure something out. We'll hopefully be able to do a special or two about the Maladroit demos. And also, I really want to talk about Ace.
Okay.
He's terrible. I love him, but he's garbage. So, you know, late nights taking care of a child, I'm going to have to figure out something to do. So maybe I'll do some research. But, yeah. So that's Maladroit.
Yep. And you're going to keep that long of a pause in there?
See, and that's one of my least favorite things about editing this show is that I always laugh so much when you take those extended pauses, but I cut down the pause because it's like, that's too long for dead air. People are going to think that they're, you know, if they're listening on their phone, they're getting a phone call or something. That's what I do. But it's not as funny without that length of a pause. This is obviously very important and everybody needs to know that. But so farewell, Maladroit, until we meet again. Are we just gonna go out? Do you have any more to say?
I mean, we can just go over some plugs or whatever real quick.
Oh, right. We have to do that. Yeah. We haven't recorded for a while, apparently.
Yeah. So I've been Eric Nash. You can also find me at the old show, my very first hosting responsibility show, Watchmen Minute. Still kicking away at Almost Famous Minute, which is on the same network as this show. Pantheon Podcast, Rock and Roll Network. You can find it at pantheonpodcast.com.
And I'm Zach Fracking Smith. You can always follow me on Twitter at The Informal Log. You can follow the show on Twitter at Feels Like Weezer. You can check us out on Facebook, Feels Like Weezer, which is just, you can look that up in the Facebook bar. Is that what it's called? The Facebook bar? Let's see here. We've got the Feels Like Weezer Listener Society, where we can talk to you about Weezer-related stuff or non-Weezer-related stuff. You want to talk about Star Wars? I don't care. We obviously like talking about Star Wars.
And Muppets.
And Muppets. You know? It's great. Let's see here. What else? We have an email. You can send us an email, feelslikeweezer@gmail.com. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about Maladroit. So please let me know. And we're going to put out a call for guests right now for Make Believe. So if you would like to talk about Make Believe with us, feel free, send us an email. I'd love to get as many Weezer fans on the show as possible, so that we don't have to fall back to, Tyler or something. What else? Is that it? Pantheon Podcasts.
I think so. Yeah.
.com.